Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers. I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Well, good afternoon. Today is Monday, January 22nd, 2024. My name is Donald Welch, and I'm the author of the book, The Love I Thought I Knew. And here, I will show you the book just so you can get a glimpse of the front of it. As we see, it got a little glare, but this is the Love I Thought I Knew. And this book I had released back sometime mid 2023. So I connected with Reader's Magnet, and it's been a great deal working with them, and they have helped me, promote my book, and I will say that I am pleased with the service. So, but one of the things we're going to go over today is some of the segments that I have in my book. But before I do that, I wanted to share a little background of what got me started into writing. Um, I'm, originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. I did 30 plus years in the military. I'm retired, and I'm currently working at UNC Rex Healthcare in Raleigh, North Carolina. But I've developed a passion for writing ever since I've gotten out of the military. When you have military friends and family and stuff like that, we all have our story to share. So some of my coworkers will always say, "Hey, won't you share your story?" And I used to hear them, and I say to myself, I don't really have anything to share, but honestly, I did have something to share. Every time we always had a pen and a pad with us. If it was something that we forgot, we wrote it down. If it was something that we wanted to discuss, we wrote it down. So I kind of put two and two together and said, everything that I'm writing down, I might as well put it in a book. So that's where I got my vision to, hey, I'm gonna start writing. So one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to share some of my experiences with you through my writing. And with The Love I Thought I Knew, that was book number 6 for me. But, you know, later on, we're going to go over some of the other books that I've written, but I wanted to kind of hit on this one from the beginning because this is the one that's actually the one that's featured. So again, The Love I Thought I Knew. To give you a brief rundown, this is a story about an individual. He has a love interest for his significant other, and his significant other doesn't have the idea of love that he has for her. So every time that he tries to express his love to her, she thinks he's up to something. So with that being said, he didn't let that discourage him. He just kept proving that how much that he loved her in the whole 9 yards. Now, his coworkers, which is where he got his support from, will always encourage him and always, applaud him for the things that he did. When some of his battle was not only with his significant other, but whoever his significant other was around, whether it be family or her friends, they stayed in her ear and they kind of influenced her, that he's got to be doing something. He's got to be doing something. So everything that he tried to do that was positive was getting shot down by something that was negative. So we hear about this all the time, but when you actually see it, that is something different. You actually feel it as something different. So with this, the man, he was determined to prove that his to his significant other that, yeah, you're my love, you're my only love, and you are the love that I know. So he wasn't gonna you know he wasn't gonna look at it as anything else, but this is his love. So with that being said, what we can do is we can discuss some of the segments that I have in here. And matter of fact, I'll pull a couple out of the book right now. So I got it broke down by scene. So one of the first scene I have in here is what's cooking. The second scene that I have in here is challenges ahead. The third scene that I have in here, analyzing the situation in depth. The fourth scene that I have is refreshing outlook after counseling. Scene number five is unexpected turn of events. And scene number six is the harsh realities. Okay. Now, when it comes to the scenes and how I came up with some of these topics of what's cooking, with the concept of the guy, you know, knowing that he has a love that he knows, it's like, okay, I'm living my life and I'm going to be, constantly expressing this true love to my significant other, whereas he has to deal with some of the challenges ahead. So with that being said, he was all in, and as time goes on, he still, he goes to work, he gets encouragement from his coworkers and stuff like that, and no matter what, once he goes to face the reality, it was always an uphill battle each and every time that he's with his loved one. So, but I mean, we experience things like that in the world today. I mean, not just what I write in the book, but some of the experiences that I've written in the book, or some of the experiences that either I've dealt with or people that I know have dealt with. So I wanted to put it out there, as a self-help, and some of the obstacles that we go through and some of the things we do to challenge those obstacles. And we always ask ourselves that, what can we do to make what we're trying better? Now, with this guy having the dedication to show his love, he also has to keep in mind that you can't go all in with putting all your 100% plus effort and showing somebody how much you love them, and you're not getting anything in return, because when you do that, you're kind of setting yourself up for the unexpected. So I mean, he didn't give up. It was all about a man that truly loved this woman. Now, with that being said, the woman has to also, dig deep into her heart and her soul to say, do I love him as much as he loves me? Sometimes, in life we ask those questions. So you can only go on your gut feeling. You can't speak for nobody else, regardless of who it is. But you have to keep in mind that at the end of the day, are you getting the same in return as you're giving? And sometimes you may not get that 100% that you're giving. So you gotta kind of set your expectations of, do you want that 100%, or what is it that where you set your boundaries, what you're going to accept. So, and along in the story, the guy, he goes home, he tries something every day, and it's just like no matter what, it wasn't good enough. So he wakes up, go to the drawing board again, asks advice from his friends, his coworkers, and they continue to encourage him. It was really nothing new, no new steps that he can take to go to the next level. The only thing he can do is keep repeating what he was doing, and that's just showing how much that he loved him. So, um, like I said, we got people in life today. You got people that's going through all kind of things. Even with the COVID situation, it got a lot of people depressed, and whether it be, your finances, whether it be, the love that you have for people, whether it be, your job situation, because at one point in time the job was only essential personnel only, and a lot of these small businesses, it, COVID really messed them up. And then, especially when you're losing a business, that means you're losing income. When you're losing income, that's when it starts to affect your family. And when people's family get affected, for the most part, finances is one of the hardest hit areas when it comes to family and the love that they have for each other. Sometimes your love can be tested because of finances, and finances shouldn't be the main thing about true love, but sometimes finances just creep up in there. And I think with you know in my book, The Love I Thought I Knew, it was the guy wasn't worried about finances. I mean, both of them, they had a pretty decent job. His wife, she was a chef. He was, working as a physical therapist. So I don't think money was the issue, but at the same time, you know, any little thing that could spark, money can become a main issue. Okay. Let's see. We have a comment here. Let's see. Love come in many forms and levels. What's important to you? Love without expecting in return. Okay. Um, People would love to be loved the way they love to be loved. It's that same concept of you want people to do unto you as you do unto others. So me, I'm a firm believer that, if I give 110% plus, I can't say that I expect it because I don't know where everybody sets their boundaries. I would love to have the same return that I give, and if I can get at least I say 75% of that, and I'm just being realistic, I'm happy. I'm happy because everybody's expectation, everybody's dedication is different. My dedication level may be totally different than my significant other. So I think even when it's in the book, his dedication level was just unique to him, whereas his wife's dedication level probably wasn't as much as his, but I'm pretty sure that he would have loved to get the same in return. So, but like I said, it's important to one communication. I can elaborate with communication. Communication is very important because without communication, you don't have a foundation. Like even me and my life, me and my wife, we have great communication, and I love the fact that we can communicate with each other. We can talk to each other. We're at that level where I've been married 17 years, right? And of course, you go through your obstacles, but within 17 years, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. The one thing that I can always say is we've communicated, and if it was something that we didn't understand, you ask questions. You can't sit there and assume. You have to ask questions. I was always told, and I was always taught that a dumb question is a question that you don't ask, because if you don't ask, you'll never know. Okay, we got a comment. Let's see. I think for someone to love truly, he or she must first learn to love oneself. And yes, I do agree. You have to love yourself. But if you don't love yourself, how can you sit there and set an expectation to receive love? So you have to be able to love yourself. That is true. And without self love, anything that you get on the outside it's up for grabs. So if you can't love yourself, you will never understand when you're receiving love from someone. I do agree with that. And I can say, I've been in situations where, me, I love myself. I will not trade myself for nothing in the world. I know that sounds funny, but loving myself is a great feeling. And if I can love myself, then I can appreciate when somebody else shows love for me. So let's see. Got another. Let's see. How hard was it to put up thoughts on paper? Okay. Uh, let's see. Me, being in the military, we always had to keep a pen and paper with us and stuff like that. So when it came to my job, I took my job personal because I can just say that because of my job, I was dedicated with my job. So any thoughts that I came up with, not just love, but when it comes to anything professional, when a thought crossed, excuse me, when a thought crossed my mind, I put it on paper because I wanted to revisit those thoughts. I mean, the same thing goes for love as well. When you get into a relationship, whether if you're just boyfriend or girlfriend, married or whatever the case may be, what you want to do is, if you have any thoughts, and we're not a tape recorder, so we're not going to remember everything. I always encourage people, keep a pen and a pad with you because there may be some you may want to talk with your significant other about, or some that you may want to work out things. Sometimes you can get to a conversation, you may not understand what your significant other is saying, and you may misjudge and or misunderstand what they may be saying, and the communication can, kind of dwindle because now you've already got your mind set that is this what they're saying or this is what I'm, receiving. So sometimes you can have a conversation, and it's always good to have a pen and a pad. But another important part of the communication, you got to have that capability of listening. You know, Listening is one of the strongest tools in communicating. I'm one of the ones that came up with, God gave us two ears and one mouth. I think He wants us to listen twice as much as we talk. So if you're capable of listening, then I think communication works very well. Let's see. Sincerity is a let's see, quintessential element in any relationship. If one is not sincere, one cannot be honest. I totally agree. You have to be sincere. I mean, honesty goes a long way because people can be honest, and then people can be honest. I know that sounds a little redundant because people can be honest and they can play that role that I'm gonna just show them that I'm honest, and when they turn their back or when they go away, I'm just gonna go back and be who I am. You have to be sincere because sincere is just going to only express that you truly have a strong love for an individual that you're sincere about. And when you're sincere, you can feel it. And I think when you're communicating with an individual, I think they can feel how sincere you are as well. So when you have that strong bond and that strong love for each other, you can always determine if the person is sincere. Once you get to know an individual, you can know the likes and the dislikes, the do's and the don'ts, what's going to spark this individual off. Like with I'll give you an example. Like with my wife, I would say that she's one of the ones when she get off work, just like anybody that get off work, we're tired. If I'm home, I'm going to make sure that, and I'm a cook by trade. I mean, 32 years in the military, that's all I did. I worked in the culinary field, so I love to cook. So one of the things I want to make sure is whatever one of her favorite meals is or whatever it is she likes to eat, I want to make sure that that's waiting on her when she get home. We share that responsibility with each other. So that goes along with being sincere. I share the responsibility. She share the responsibility. It's give or take. Okay. Let's see. Good. Thank you for sharing your book and your insights on love. Okay, no problem. One thing I would love, my passion is it's not only that I talk about my books, but at the same time, I want to share some of the self-help tips that kind of like inspired me to writing the books because I think for me, writing became a therapy for me because, like I said, after spending so much time in the military, you know you don't go in the military and come out the same. So, it's one of them things where you say to yourself, now, okay, now I got to find something to occupy my mind because the military always has something to occupy your mind, whether it was peacetime, whether it was wartime. Everybody's going to will be affected in some way, shape, or form. Everybody's affected differently. Me, for the most part, a lot of the things I've seen, there were the days that I got up and, I had my nightmares and I'm pretty sure that anybody else that served in the military knows exactly where I'm coming from. So let's see. I just realized a couple of things about love and relationship. Thanks. Okay. Um, well, hopefully some of the things that I've shared with you, has helped you and even not just with the love I thought I knew, even some of the other books that I've written, which I will be going over, later on throughout the week. I think some of it is expressing, love in some way, shape, or form, whether it be love in a relationship, whether it be love in your job, whether it be just the love that you have for yourself, because like I said, there's nothing like self-love. Like I said, if you love yourself, then the world is your oyster. You have to love yourself first because loving yourself can help counteract people that doesn't have love for you. When you love yourself, you got the self-confidence that you can just walk away from the negative impact that may be coming your way. Loving yourself helps you, whereas if somebody didn't love you, you wouldn't feel like that you need to be loved. And when you get to that point, I've seen cases where people feel that they're unloved, they feel left out, and some of the worst things can come across their lives where I've witnessed in military where people were in relationships, they felt that they weren't loved, and suicide was an option. And that's the one thing that we always try to defeat. Let's see. Would you say that much of your life now is informed by your experience in the military? I would say yes, because 32 years in the military, I mean, I spent half my life, over half my life in the military. So it's like, as soon as I graduated out of high school, it was, I got my diploma, boom, I was ready to go, ready to put the boots on, lace up. I think a lot of my experiences were in the military because, don't get me wrong, I've been in relationships before I went to the military, but it's one of them things that you're still learning. I was still young, so graduating high school, you're 18, you're 19, and then you're going right into the military. So I didn't even have the chance to, for say, jump into college, but at the same time, I was ready to explore the world, and that was just it. So anything that I was going to find, whether it be relationships with a significant other, work relationships, just friendships, a lot of that I was going to gain while I was in the military. And the difference between relationships and friendships that I had before I went in the military, a lot of the people that I had, the relationships and friendships were, we all have something in common. Once I got into the military, you're experiencing people from different nationalities, different, worlds, different walks of life. So um, that kind of helped me because it broadened my horizons. So, even if you got into a relationship, even if it was somebody that was from a different nationality or a different walk of life, it kind of opened your mind up to, you know, there are different levels. That's one thing I learned. There are different levels of love. And what I mean by that is, you know, the love that you may have for somebody, growing up, y'all share the same interests. Whereas you come across somebody in a different nationality, they just love different. I mean, it's a learning experience, but I'm not saying one is better than the other. But like I said, being in the military, it kind of broadened my horizons with that. So, you know, I mean, like I said, love come in all shapes and sizes. So it's just what you set yourself up to, as an expectation. Are you willing to give? That's the first thing you have to keep in mind. Are you willing to give? You want to be loved. Are you willing to give? Sometimes you may have to give more than what you receive. So that's the one thing that, getting the same love back in return is not a guarantee, but it is a work in progress. So, but like I said, even with the love I thought I knew and even some of the other books, the love I thought I knew was more or less for, sharing the experiences of love for one another, and that's with people that are in relationships, that are in marriages and stuff like that. Like I said, some of the other books that I've written, it may show more dedication and love, but at the same time, just because you show dedication doesn't mean that you don't have a love for your dedication. So that's a different type of love. So, but just specifically in the love I thought I knew, I think, a lot of the stuff that I hit on was, you know, when you're in relationships, it's hard work. Relationships is hard work. I mean, there's nothing easy about it. It's hard work. I mean, even if you're with your significant other, y'all getting along and y'all having fun and everything's great. You can be either boyfriend or girlfriend, or you can be married. You can be with a person 10 years. You can be with a person 20 years or 30 years. You know, you have to ask yourself, what do you do to keep that flame burning? So when you're with somebody 3 years, 5 years, that's just I call it the primitive years. That's when you still get to know the person. So 5 years is not long, but you still get to know that individual. You reach 10 years, you still getting to know them, but at the same time, you're at a point where there's a percentage of what you definitely know. You're going to also have that percentage where you don't know. Okay. Let's see. Last section, like intellectual ventures and all with a sense of curiosity and wonder. That's your storyteller. Yes, it is. It's an adventure. It is. It really is intellectual adventure. You get to learn a whole lot, from people that you don't know, but at the same time, you can hear a story and you can say to yourself, there's something similar to what I've dealt with, but just, the conclusion that that individual came up with, I would have never came up with it. So, but, the one thing you would say when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to love, like I said before, it is hard work. It's hard work. So now, you know, are you willing to put that time in? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So, first you have the self love. You have to learn how to love yourself. And I would say before you step out on faith and say, I'm going to try this love game, you got to ask yourself the question, what are you willing to give? What are you willing to sacrifice? Because giving and sacrifice are the two main things that you're going to be doing when it comes to expressing your love for another individual. So that's it's going to be a challenge in itself. So, and I mean, like I said, we all experience. I mean, I look at myself. I'm 55 years old. Not not afraid to share my age, but at the same time, at 55, I think I still have more life to live, but I have lived life to a point where I do have an understanding of love. Now, do I have all the answers to it? No, I don't. I would never be able to be the one to say that I have all the answers because even at 55, I'm still at a point where you know everything is a learning experience for me. So, with that being said, I'm pretty sure that if there's anybody trying to figure out who I am and what I'm about, that's going to be a learning curve for them because they have to put in the work to find out, what am I about? You know, who am I? I mean, I know who I am. The people that I deal with, I know who they are to a certain degree. There's things that I do know, and there's things that I don't know. But the things that I don't know are the things that I'm willing to learn. These are the things that I'm working at. So that's why I always say, when it comes to love, love is hard work because every day is a learning experience. You don't have that. You don't have all the answers to love. And I mean, if we did, yes, it would be a perfect world. So, all right. So I want to we're getting close to wrapping it up, so I don't have that much more time left. But if anybody have any comments or questions, I'm here to take any questions. But I'm going to be on tomorrow at the same time, and I'm going to go get a little bit more depth into the book of the love I thought I knew. But I'm also going to share some of the other stories that I have that are also self-help books. I've written a book, one that I dedicated to my 13-year-old, so just recently turned 13. With me being in the military, with him being at a young age, it was a challenge for him as well. So, and the thing about it is, like I said, when we get to these stories, everybody has a story to share, and especially with people that have kids. And if you've never been in the military, it is a challenge for them. So, but that was one of the reasons I wanted to definitely write a book that I dedicated to him. I wrote a children's book, so this would be something that we will have, and as he get older, he can be able to share with his friends. That I mean, we're looking at a young age for him. So I think when he gets a little older, it's going to be something that he can be proud of, and he can share with his friends. Say, these are some of the things I went through when, being a military dependent. Now, even though he's still a military dependent, but I'm retired, it's a little different because I'm not traveling. I'm not, every 2 or 3 years, I'm not up and moving. So, but, like I said, it's been an experience for me. It's definitely been an experience for him. So I'm pretty sure as he gets older, he's going to probably get into it and, you know, probably one day share his story. You never know. You may see his book out there one day. So if he wants to write, I support him. I'm going to encourage him. So again, like I said, the love I thought I knew, which is the book that's being featured, and like I said, I have to give thanks to Rita Magnet and for helping me put my story out there. And I look forward to putting more stories out there. And like I said, it's been a fun journey, and hopefully I've helped people. And like I said, I look forward to helping people and giving more of my thoughts and sharing more of my story. Okay. I want to thank you, and like I said, I look forward to the rest of the week. All right.